let's just like break the ice, right? How are you enjoying Elbaf right now? What are your thoughts?
So I'm loving it.
Mm, mm.
It has been such a surprise, obviously, because Elbaf looks very different from the legends that it has built up. And so you get in and you're like, okay, what are we doing? What exactly is Elbaf going to be? But between the reveals that we've had, the new characters that have been introduced, the flashback, obviously, the lore reveals, like there's been so much happening that has kept at least me, I'm sure most of the fandom on our toes and excited for the next chapter. But also, like, I think we've got to be only like halfway through this arc because
Yeah,
most of Elbaf up to the flashback has been set up. And we have a lot to actually pay off
that's
still.
true. That's true. I didn't even think about it that way. I guess it's because I've been so lost in the flashback that things have
Yeah.
kind of really things haven't even really hit their climax. We haven't even hit the climax of the arc yet, but we're going through a crazy setup arc to give us all context. This context really is for Harold and Loki, right? And going back into
Yes.
Elbaf and understanding what happened, right? So,
hmm
yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Huh.
Consider what's happening right now on Elbaf outside of the flashback. We have children that are still under the capture of the Celestial Dragons. Emu
True.
himself has arrived in the body of Gunku. The library and school are still currently on fire,
That's
and their
true. I
history
did
and
not think
culture
about
is
that.
up in flames. Dory, Broggy, and several other giants are currently under the control of the evil forces and reigning terror, and so are the nightmares. And Scopper Gaban has just taken a horrible injury and is in the underworld, and he's our only hope for saving the children and putting out the fire.
Yeah.
Like there's so much, and Luffy, Loki, and Hadruden, or however you say his name, are
Yeah,
all
you got it.
getting ready. You got it? It's Hadruden?
Yeah.
Okay, I get it wrong every time. Are all getting ready to go up to the sun world. So they're about to enter the fight. And Loki's still a wild card. What's he gonna do? So
Yeah.
like we're not even truly in the climax yet. We're
No.
building up to it.
And you're right about that because I'm thinking that Luffy, it seems very hopeless because no one can truly damage the Holy Knight. Scopper was the only one, but Luffy has the component to do that. Conqueror's Haki is the secret. And it's not just regular Conqueror's Haki. We're talking about, we're assuming Conqueror's coding at that point. So Luffy obviously being able to wield it and Zoro kind of unknowingly wielding it. It's really Luffy and Zoro, and I'm assuming if Loki can wield it, then I mean, one, just from a narrative standpoint, that is a major player in the world already. That we don't know what he's gonna do after this. Is he gonna be the king of Elbaf? Is he gonna join Luffy? One of my favorite things that I'd really love, and if Oda was brave enough to do it, him joining Blackbeard would be such a brave decision for him to do. And I know you're
We're
looking
gonna
like
have to
that.
try.
It, I
Go
don't
ahead.
think it'd be a surprise for Oda to do it because it's always the Luffy asked him to join his crew, right? Loki turns good because he's with Luffy, but he's not really good. But the angle that I'm going with, right, and I'll save it for the flashback, but like Loki's roots and his hero, someone that he looked up to, joining the son of his hero, and like cashing in on that admiration and how that would aid his son, Zebek's son, in that overall goal, right? And I think that would be like the firepower needed to go in there. And it's like narratively speaking, it strengthens Blackbeard's position at going after Emu and being the final villain. That's what I think. I just also think it'd be very brave because it would go against what we would think Oda would do, right?
It would
If he
definitely
wanted
go
to,
against what we think Oda would do. Yes.
yeah,
I alternate point though. Loki calls himself the sun god,
he
as
does.
do, everyone on Elbaf wants to be the sun god. It's a big part of their culture. But Loki's ideal of the sun god, I believe, is freedom. He talks a lot about freedom. He says no man chooses to be chained. He offers to Luffy, if you'll unleash me, then then I'll take down a pirate crew of your choice. But if you tell me no, I'll respect that. I'm not going to force your hand. When the celestial dragons try to torture him into agreeing to join them, he says absolutely not. Like, and he mentions free will in that scene as well, I'm pretty sure. And Rox himself was a big proponent of free will in
Yeah.
that he refused to try to force Harold's hand. He only offered him those things. When Harold decided to try to kill um, Rox, for the celestial dragons, he's like, what does your free will say? Don't be manipulated by them, you know, like. So I think Loki has inherited this reverence for free will, and Luffy being the embodiment of freedom,
True.
I could see him going in that direction. The sun god, who he claims to be and who Elbaf reveres, and the sun god, who is the embodiment of freedom.
So then, how do you feel about crew dynamics and crew structure at that point, right? Where you have Zoro, Sanji, Jinbei, Luffy, and then you add someone as powerful as Loki joining the Straw Hats. At that point, where do we get the tension from in the story for a villain if you have so many overwhelmingly powerful fighters on one crew? Where does the
I
tension?
don't see Loki joining the Straw Hats either.
Okay, so that's fine. Okay, so that's good. So then, what do you see Loki doing? What would you like Loki to do? That's a better question. What would you like?
I would like to see him stay. And the thing is, he told Hadruden, you have filthy blood. You're a bastard child. Your blood is tainted. You like, get away. And their relationship is so broken. Just the same, Harold wanted to unite Elbaf with the world, and in his pursuit of uniting Elbaf with the world, he neglected his sons. He neglected his family.
Yes.
And because he was gone so much and he wasn't able to invest in them. With that, you have Hadruden, who was outcast and not considered worthy of being a part of his own family. Same for his mother. And you have two brothers who were feuding, and you have one brother, Loki, who was trying to kill himself because no one wanted him. His mother completely rejected him in the most heartbreaking way. His father wasn't around. Ida wanted him, but by then he was hurting too bad and he didn't trust any sort of affection. So at this point, Loki is very broken.
Yes.
And Hadruden is very bitter. And Hadruden's goal is to unite giant relations. Harold was world relations with giants. Hadruden's goal is, I want the giants to be connected because he's been personally affected by the hierarchy of giant blood. So I think to restore Elbaf, or rather to redeem Elbaf in some of the problems that it's had, having someone who isn't a full-blood Elbaf on the throne, step one, Hadruden needs to be the new king.
Yeah.
Step two, having the brothers united and having these different ideals united as well. The warriors as well as the peace bringers. Because one or the other doesn't seem to be working for Elbaf. One was domineering and separated them from the world. The peaceable with no sort of defense or no sort of like rootedness in their heritage also seems to have left them very vulnerable to where now the kids don't know how they don't like they don't even want to insult each other. They've so rejected any sort of violence.
Exactly.
So having that balance of wanting the peaceableness worldwide as well as wanting the peaceableness within their own culture, but still like embracing their pride, their warrior pride, I think would take both brothers staying.
Interesting. Okay, so the chat has been very adamant about joint kings, right? Co-kings of Elbaf. You're going for the co-kings of Elbaf or the co-captains of the Elbaf pirates, one or the other.
Okay, no, I would take co-kings. I was thinking Hadruden King and then Loki just like, by his side, but I would take co-kings.
Interesting. It would take a big it would take a lot for Loki to swallow his pride to allow Hydra to be king, but I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility for Oda to do that. The only way I see those two actually accepting each other is the one person that's been the commonality between them. The one person that's actually been a mother, the one has loved them both unconditionally and treated them equally, and it's Ida.
Yeah.
And I think Ida is such an understated character, but such a great character with very little exposition, if I'm using those words correctly.
Sure.
Right? There's not much about Ida that we know, but her energy, her demeanor, her character is such a light for Loki. It's the only, to me, Ada's the only person that's genuinely accepted Loki for who he is and almost ignores all of his faults and flaws, like just a wildly loving mother would. Just like, you're still my baby. You're so cute. Yeah. You want to kill me? How adorable. You want to stab me? Do you want some juice? And Loki's like, yeah, I want some juice. It's like, I mean,
he could have a little bit more of a backbone. Discipline those kids when they talk back to you. But
she could, right, but it's so funny. It's so funny because I generally believe, and here's the part that I love about it the most. He always is around her shack. He's always around her bar. That's his hangout spot. That's the place he's always going. So deep down, he loves her.
Something else that's really interesting to me, and it's probably interesting farther than just Loki, but Loki, every bit of lore around him has been a lie. Not just the fact that he's the cursed child and he killed the horse and he killed his mom and all these. So we're in Elbaf and we're introduced to this idea of Loki is the cursed one. Everything that's bad that's happened is his fault. And then we list off all these things, but we've even got stuff like Harold prophesied that his own son would kill him. That was a lie too. It was his mom that made the prophecy over his life. It was his mom that called him cursed. It was all of those things. And it seems like there are multiple instances like that. Oh, and then that he killed his father, but we watched his father be killed, and it was a bunch of guards that killed him. Yeah. So it seems like there have been instances like that where we have the lore, and we can look at that with the Harley as well, where there's a lot of different stories. There's a lot of different interpretations. But anyway, there have been multiple instances of this kind of thing happening where we're told one thing and then it's all completely false, and we get the new history, and the new history shows something different. So I'm anticipating, obviously Rox is a great example of that as well. So I'm anticipating the possibility that everything that we've known about the conclusion of God Valley is also entirely falsified. That we got a news reporting that does not reflect the reality. The winners choose the history kind of situation.
Yes, I do agree with that. And that's why I find God Valley, these next couple of chapters are so important for the story. So important for the story. But to really hone in on the Loki point that we were bringing about everything that has been said about him is a lie, I guess I didn't really put that together, because it's true. Even from his birth, he has been scorned by his mother in such a sad and terrible way, and he's been cast aside. He was thrown off a mountain. The panel of that poor child climbing, he's a scary looking baby. Let's be honest. We're not gonna, run away from it. But the panel of him crying as he's climbing up a frozen mountain was morbid and disgusting.
It was berserk coded.
And it really was. And the blood, he fought a bear, he had to kill an animal to get back up there, right? And the fact that he keeps trying to barge back in to get his mother's love, and he's still shunted over and over and over again. It's like his story is, he had no choice but to be the bad guy. He was pushed in that direction at every corner. Everything about his character is, people have they've made up their mind about him without him ever getting to know him. So he is now taking it upon himself to make sure he lives up to who people think he is. And it's a tragic story because it's as if when he runs into, it is when he sees Rocks and sees someone that so brazenly does not care what anyone thinks at all. He like one of the craziest reactions I've ever had is when Rock stabbed Loki, and I'm like, this guy's toxic. He stabbed a baby. Like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. He stabbed a child. Like, he actually stabbed him. Like in the flashback. Yeah, and even Brightbeard's like, why did you pull a knife on the kid? And he's like, yo, he pulled up on me. Yeah. And I'm just like, yo, he stabbed. Like, I don't think people understand. Yes. Yeah, exactly. He used advanced Conqueror's Haki on a kid. He stabbed a child and walked away as if nothing happened. And Loki's like, this guy don't care about nothing. This guy's amazing. This guy, everyone hates him and he doesn't care at all. He looks like the happiest guy in the room. And one of my favorite things ever was when Rox was telling Harold about his dream and Loki's looking. He's like peeking in and hearing Rox, and he's like looking at him with such amazement. He's like, I want to be just like this guy. I see myself in him. He doesn't care what anybody thinks about him. He doesn't care what my dad thinks. He just lives his life the way he wants to. And that's when I saw in that moment, I'm like, okay, it's like Loki is Shank. To me, Rox is like Loki's Shanks. And not directly, because they didn't have a direct relationship. Not like that. Yeah. But in terms of just who inspired them to be who they are, it's Rox.
He adopted his ideals, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It was not Harold. It was not Roger. It's not any of that. So if Rox is the foundation of Loki's motivations to go out there, right? Rox is the one who talked about the Giants being amazing. Like Harold, the Giants, who they used to be, they were awesome. Like, if you join me, we can take over the world. Like, Loki adheres to that ideology. He's like, this is what I'm looking for. So I think the direction that we can take Loki in can go in many different things. The sun god thing is fascinating, right? Because I think that's just the Harley and that's the lore. There's also the aspect of Loki wanting the Giants to be what they used to be. Would Luffy encourage the Giants to go back to who they were? Or the point that I'm bringing back in again is, who would encourage the Giants to be who they were before? Because think about the speeches, right? Think about the type of speech Luffy would give. He's like, it's your free will, do whatever you want, but don't harm people, right? Loki could listen to that. That's probably the narrative that Oda would go with, right? The Giants can be warriors, but it doesn't mean they have to like harm innocent people. Just be warriors. Or there's the Blackbeard side. And this is going back to Kuzan joining Blackbeard. Remember how Kuzan and Blackbeard first initially joined? Kuzan came there and was ready to like fight all of the Blackbeard pirates. He sat down and talked with Blackbeard for a bit. Now they're drinking together and partying. And that magnitude of the man, the charisma, the ideals, the let's go out, let you do what you want to do. We all have an agenda. Go after it. I'm not going to stop you, but come along for the ride. You mean to tell me Blackbeard's not going to give Loki the same speech if he gets the chance to talk to him and sees Rox in him, sees the foundation that Rox set within Loki, and then cashes in on that foundation?
Are you...
Yeah, go ahead. Am I what?
So are you saying Loki is either going to be king of Elbaf or he's going to join Blackbeard?
I don't think it's king of Elbaf. I think he's going to be the figure. I think he's going to be like where Hydruden becomes the king of Elbaf, but Loki is more of the protector, if that makes sense. Like the pseudo protector. Loki gets his freedom, but he still will assist his brother, because I do think that relationship is going to get mended. I think that relationship will get mended. I think because of Ida, right? And we haven't got a chance to talk about her, but we will. But I'm saying there could be the case where Loki cashes in on his ultimate dream of the ideals of Rox, right? And being free, being what the Giants were supposed to be, and leading his own group of Giants. We're saying, this is who we were born to be. Let's do it. But Blackbeard enforcing that. Not enforcing that. Encouraging that with his charisma and the way he can speak, the way he can draw in those around him. Katarina Devon, she said, teach is special.
Yes.
if we don't believe Blackbeard has the capability of speaking words to Loki that are going to remind him of his father, I don't know. I just feel like it's a missed opportunity, right? It's a missed opportunity for Loki to be one
Blackbeard
of
and
the...
Loki are gonna meet.
So here's how I see it. I could see Blackbeard being the one that's destroying Mary Joel right now. I can see that because Katarina Devon taps Saturn on the shoulder, and anyone Katarina Devon touches, she can take the appearance off with her Nine Tails fruit. She did the same thing with Absalom, right? That's the callback.
Yeah.
So they infiltrate the world government. Blackbeard is destroying Mary Joas, calls Emu back, but Loki overhears that. Say there's a conversation where that accursed Davy is attacking Mary Joas. And all of not the curse of Davy. Well, we're getting into like crazy theory, but the point is, Loki overhears this going on, and he's like, "Who is this guy that's doing this? What is going on here? Like, what's happening here?" Because at the end of the day, if we believe that the giants of the Galila giants that were, I don't think they were Galila giants. I think I'm trying to like I'm mixing that up, right? There was a group. Yeah, there was a group of giants. There was a group of giant shipwrights. So the giants in Elbaf are important to Rox's goal in the first place. Blackbeard would obviously want the giants to be part of his master plan. I would not be shocked in the slightest if Blackbeard gets an interaction with Elbaf, or Blackbeard shows up in Elbaf in general. If Mary Joas is a diversion for Blackbeard to enter, it's possible. I just feel like the connection between Rox and Blackbeard and Loki should be cashed in on at some point in time. How Oda chooses to write it, there's many different ways to go about it. But if I do it, I'm going on tinfoil hat theory crafting that I don't want to get too deep into, right? But I think it's narratively, and I'm talking about from a narrative standpoint, narratively, it has enough value for Oda to execute it if you wanted to write it into the story. Wasn't Hydrudum who was there to witness what happened to Harold? Was it just Loki?
It was Ural.
It was Ural and Loki?
Yeah, they both were summoned into the castle at the same time, and they walked into the room together as he was being killed.
Okay, so Hyrudin wasn't there. Okay, all right. I was just making sure.
No, Hyrudin still thinks that Loki did it, and that's why when Loki said that he wanted to be set free and he wanted to go up to the sun world with them, and Hyrudin was like, "No, like I don't trust you. You're evil. You killed my father." And Gaban said, "Loki, it's time for you to tell your brother what actually happened." So Gaban knows.
Yes, he does. The Loki conversation is so interesting, right? Because Loki was I remember I was speaking to you and how I was having a hard time with Elbaf, right? And I think the last time we really spoke about One Piece was talking about Elbaf, and like the beginning of it, and how it was like it was hard for me to get through. You know, it was a little stale. I don't really have any characters. It wasn't bad, but I'm normally a character guy. Loki was the first person where I'm like, okay, I'm interested in this guy. And when I saw that flashback, I'm like, okay, this is good. The flashback is good. It's adding more character. He's kind of pretty. He's a big deal. Like and then I just wasn't expecting rocks. Oda was like, all right, well, here, have some more. Like, I gave you an appetizer, which is from a 5-star restaurant, but how about I give you a whole entree, right? And I'm like, okay, so now we're in God Valley, and I'm like, Oda, I'm full. And he's like, nah, this is just the third course. There's more to come.
This was just the Loki section of what was a 2-hour discussion on Elbaf. We talked about tons of sections of the story, to include me taking up for my boy Buggy, which I don't know, Jay didn't seem to like for some reason. I'm not sure. I think directly after this section we had a conversation about Garp and Dragon. Anyway, Jay is releasing more of the conversation on his channel tomorrow, so do keep an eye on his channel to continue to watch the discussion. Please do chat with me more in the comments. I'll see you again soon. Bye.
With the
Karen, help me.
Best dynamics. I'm so happy.
I'm about to jump off a bridge. I can't take this.
I'm so happy for both of us.
This is the worst thing I've heard in my life. I can't handle this. Buggy is not related to Isabek. No, stop.
A win for you, a win for me. Great day for everybody involved.
Why did you ruin it? I was happy. I was so happy, Murphy, and you've ruined my day so badly. It's over.